Welcome to Secreto Scoreboard.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Mommy. So, welcome to another edition of Secreto's Scoreboard Week 14. Right here on my right, I have Karsen Secreto. On my left, I have Daddy Secreto, and I am Maylee Secreto. So let's get right into it with our win-loss records. So from the beginning of our show, we told you teams we thought were going to win, and we've been keeping score of that. We've been keeping count of that. So all of these I'm about to tell you are from week 10 and from week 12, because those are the only episodes and weeks that we've said games from. So, Daddy, you are 20-7. So he predicted 20 right and 7 wrong. Karsen, you are 19-8, 19 right, 18 wrong, and I am tied with her. 19 right, 8 wrong. So, that was our very first segment. And next we will be doing Maylee's Marbles. Next segment. Okay. So I'm going to say one fantasy person, that you wouldn't think of to start this week. But it's week 14. So Giovanni Bernard versus the Cowboys. So he's on the Bengals. So he's been largely invisible for fantasy managers since week 8 due to lessening in his workload and tough matchups. For what he doesn't get done on the ground, which is 253 rushing yards, he makes up for it with his contributions in the passing game. He ranks 10th in the league at the position in both targets, 46, and receptions, 36. His matchup against the Cowboys defense will be the best he's had in weeks. The Cowboys have been the worst defense in fantasy over the last 4 games against opposing running backs, surrendering an astounding 34.73 fantasy points per game, with Brandon Allen under center in the passing game. Brandon Allen under center and the passing game struggling, looks for the Bengals to utilize Bernard quite often in this matchup, making him a number 2 running back this game against the Cowboys. So, it's going to be a very good matchup. Cowboys defense is the worst in the league against the Bengals against the Cowboys. You can watch it. Worst defense in the league versus defense in the league, but one of the worst defenses in the league. So that was Maylee's Marbles.
And now we're going to do a versus. So this is going to be a which would you rather on the games of the week. So we're going to start with the Vikings versus the Buccaneers. Give me a versus, people, that has to do with water. Woo, 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 woo. Woo, woo, woo. So dealing with water, which would you rather? Would you rather play pond hockey or go to the beach? Do, do, do. And time! What do you got, Karsen?
I have pond hockey.
Woo! What you got, Daddy?
I also have pond hockey, technically dealing with frozen water. Kind of a trick question there. But yeah, I grew up playing hockey, so I gotta go with my roots. Used to play pond hockey growing up in Michigan. So I know what it's like in Minnesota.
Going to say the beach.
Woo! And now, which would you rather? The Cardinals at the Giants. Would you rather go to the Grand Canyon or Times Square? Do 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 do. Do. Time's up. Maylee.
Say the Grand Canyon.
Woo! Daddy.
Already been there to Grand Canyon, so I'm gonna say Times Square.
Woo! And
I'm
Karsen.
gonna say Times Square because Broadway.
Woo! Whoa! Oh, and now we're gonna do the Kansas City Chiefs at the Miami Dolphins. Which would you rather? Would you rather hang out with Ellie Kemper or Ava Mendez? Ellie Kemper is of The Office, and Ava Mendez is a hot girl. And the answers. Okay, we'll start with Karsen.
I have Ellie Kemper.
Ellie Kemper. Woo!
Is her name Ellie? I put Allie. Sorry.
Ew, but woo!
Ellie, sorry if you're watching this ever from The Office.
Wow.
He is a big fan though.
And Maylee.
Yeah, huge Rock fan, so gotta say that.
Woo! Kansas City. And now we're going to do the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Lady Antebellum versus Leonard Skinnerd. Which would you rather? Ba, 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 da, da, da. Okay. And Maylee, we going to you first, girl.
I'm gonna do Lady A, Lady Antebellum.
Woohoo! Daddy.
Have to go with the classic rock
Woo!
there.
Leonard Skinner. All right, Karsen.
Some more Skinner.
Lady A.
Woo! Lady A.
Welcome back to a segment we like to call The Lion's Den, where we talk about the Lions' weekly news. So, we want to talk about Jeff Okudah this week. So, here's a little graphic for you guys. So, basically, he's having core muscle surgery this weekend or today or something that's going to end his season. So, he was the first round, third overall pick in 2020 by the Detroit Lions, a cornerback out of Ohio State University. Started just 6 of 9 games, and he's got, for 2020, his stats are 43 tackles, 2 pass defense, and 1 interception. So, I mean, he's been decent. I mean, I know we just fired Quinn and Patricia, but honestly, for the third overall pick, you expect a bigger impact. You expect just bigger like stats. I know he's a corner, and he had that one interception against the Cardinals against Kyler Murray that helped him win. I think it was in week 3. But he really hasn't been like made any memorable plays. I mean, 43 tackles is kind of a lot for only 9 games played. I mean, for a cornerback. So he's physical. He likes to tackle. I like the kid. I'm just saying there was a lot of other like crazy players that went in this draft, like especially the wide receivers, the rookie running backs that are just making impacts. I know we got Swift. I'm just saying. So it's going to be interesting to see who the next GM is and the next coach to see if they can really like use Okudah and bring him to his full potential and like bring the Lions defense to the next level. But like as far as your best ability needs to be availability. Like you can't miss half the season. I mean, he's missing 7 games out of 9. I mean, that's almost half the season there. And you just can't, I mean, that's unacceptable. The Lions have been like missing on their draft picks as far as durable draft picks. It goes back a decade or even more to the Matt Millen era, to the, I mean, it's just, I don't know. So I expect more from Jeff Okudah. I know he's been injured. It was his rookie year. There's a lot of things going on, COVID and no training camp. Maybe his body wasn't in the right shape, but anyways, we'd like to see him healthy. Hope you get back to good health and be strong for next year because we need you. And now for our next segment called Fantasy Studs and Duds. So as you know, we have resident experts here in Karsen and Maylee Secreto. So this is most leagues in fantasy football. This is the playoff week. So we're looking at fantasy studs, you know, and then maybe some duds, some maybe household names, some big name player that might underperform this week in fantasy for week 14. So we're trying to set your lineup, give you a stud. So we'll start off with Maylee on this one. Who is your fantasy stud for this week?
It was Eric Ebron on the Steelers. So he has 9.8 yards a carry, 481 receiving yards, 49 receptions, and 4 receiving touchdowns. So the Bills are ranked the 18th defense in the league. So the Bills stats, they have the most receptions to Ebron's position,
Tight end.
to tight ends, and second most average yards, which is second most yardage, 805, and tied 7th most scores, which are 7, allowed to opposing tight ends. So there'll be a good matchup. Eric Ebron versus
Nice.
Bills, number 18.
So if you're looking to stream a tight end this week, if you're in a 10-man league, 12-man league, 14-team league, he might be on waivers. He might be owned. I don't know. He's been pretty solid this week, but that's a good solid pick, Eric Ebron. And we'll go to Karsen next. Who was your fantasy stud for week 14?
Derek, the King, Henry. I'm not going to give you too many stats because I'm actually going to do my stats for my picks, but I'm just going to tell you why I chose Derek. Henry is going to go ham today because they're going against the Jags. And because he's a running back, I feel like they're going to run the ball a lot. Tannehill's going to throw the ball a lot to DK because DK can
AJ Brown.
Yeah, and then sorry, and then Derek is just good with stiff arming guys on the defense and just running through them. He's like Marshawn. He's like the next Marshawn Lynch basically, and I just feel like he's gonna go ham today.
Marshawn 2.0. Yeah, I mean I'm definitely playing against Derrick Henry this week in fantasy. Not looking forward to it. last year against the Jags, I think he had that 98-yarder, 99-yarder or something. He went over 200 yards, so I'm expecting a big week. That's definitely a good fantasy stud. So now we're looking for maybe some players to avoid in your fantasy lineup. If you're hesitant, maybe you're on the fence between two players, you're looking like to flip a coin, you're not sure. So who do you think the fantasy dud of the week is going to be? We'll start with Karsen this time.
I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins. Sorry, DeAndre. He's coming off an injury, and when you're coming off an injury, you're not really you're not really doing your best, what you're normally doing. So I feel like it's going to take him a while to get back into the flow of things, and because of that, I would not start him until maybe the next week, until he's had real practice and he's up to his normal standards. Then that's when I would start him.
Nice. Big name there. DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not sure. I didn't know about that injury, to be honest. That's
he was
a good one.
COVID-19 list, I think, not an injury.
Yeah, but they put him on the injury list because he was close contact.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a good one, definitely. Okay, we'll go on to Maylee now. Who's a fantasy dud for you to avoid this week?
Jerry Jeudy of the Broncos. So Jeudy hasn't looked right since injuring his ankle back in Week 11. Granted, the Broncos had no shot in Week 12 without a quarterback, but Judy's lack of volume is concerning. In Denver's last 3 games, Jeudy has caught just 4 of 13 targets for 42 scoreless yards. Last week came with Drew Lock under center, and Jeudy caught a single pass on lowly 4 targets. Carolina's young secondary has actually played decently this season, so Week 14 doesn't look like a good spot to project Jeudy to break out of his slump.
Nice, Jerry Jeudy, first round pick out of Alabama there, wide receiver. One to avoid there. That was our segment, Fantasy Studs and Duds.
And now back to more versus. The Cowboys versus the Cincinnati Bengals. CeeDee Lamb or Joe Burrow? Which would you rather have? CeeDee Lamb or Joe Burrow? Come on, people.
Have in fantasy?
Yes. Oh my
okay.
word. Come on, people. All right, time's up. Daddy Secreto, who you got?
I go CeeDee Lamb.
Woo!
Cowboys, baby.
Karsen, who you got?
Joe Burrow.
Woo!
Nothing against the Cowboys, just like Joe Burrow.
And Maylee.
Definitely same here, Joe Burrow.
Woo! And now, the Houston Texans or the Chicago Bears? Which would you rather? Would you rather have a Houston taco or a Chicago pizza? Ooh, meh, time. All right, Daddy Secreto.
A Chi-Town pizza
Ooh,
pie.
Chicago pizza pie. Karsen.
Let's go get tacos.
Woo, tacos.
I'm gonna go
Pizza Chicago. Next, we have the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. Would you rather go to the mountains or to the beaches? Time. All right. And Daddy.
I said the mountains. Really want to see those stars.
Woo! Karsen.
I agree with the mountains. It'd be fun to go up
Woo!
to. Let's say the beaches.
Woo! Beaches, Maylee. Now we have the New York Jets at the Seattle Seahawks. Would you rather go to the Statue of Liberty or the Space Needle? Space Needle is in Seattle. Statue of Liberty is in New York. Just put one of them down. My bad choosing. Okay. And time. Daddy.
I would say Statue of Liberty, see Ellis Island, all that history there. Pretty sweet.
Alright, come on.
Okay. Space Needle.
Seattle. Woohoo!
Definitely.
Space Needle. Woohoo! Next, we're going to go with the Indianapolis Colts at the Las Vegas Raiders. Would you rather go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway or any major resort in Las Vegas? Bless you. Time. Daddy Secreto.
Vegas all day,
Vegas. Karsen Secreto.
Vegas, baby. I'm gonna go to the resort.
Vegas. Maylee Secreto.
Resort in
Las Vegas. Woohoo!
All three. Welcome to Karsen's Chronicles. Today we're going to be talking about Jamal Adams. This week in the 4 o'clock games, we had the Seahawks and the Jets. Jamal Adams going up against his former team. The Jets traded Jamal Adams to the Seahawks, and I'm sure now the Jets regret that, but Pete Carroll doesn't. Pete Carroll, head coach of the Seahawks, says he's going to get better. He's going to play better, and he's going to play faster, and he's going to be more command of all this stuff. It's a process, and I'm thrilled the way he's playing and know that he'll be even better. This is a big, it's just big saying that big coming from Pete. Adams with a statement you can't forget. For me, it's another game. It's the next opponent. I'm not here to make it about me. I'm just going out there to do my job. Don't get me wrong. I'd be lying if I said I'm not excited. It's just not about me. That's very modest and very just respectable. If you want the whole story, go to NFL.com. Now, my question for you guys is, do you think the Jets would have a better defense if they kept him?
Okay.
Are we ready? Let's start with Daddy.
Alright, I'm going to say yes. and no there. Obviously, yes, there would be a better defense with him because he's one of the best safeties in the league. I mean, if you even call him a safety, he's really a pass rusher. He's got 7.5 sacks this year. And the reason I say no is because, like, he just wasn't happy there. And, like, you know, when you're not happy, maybe he just didn't want to play well or he wasn't going to give it his all. You know, like with Greg Williams and Adam Gase, they were butting heads with the coaching and the management. And, you know, he was just, like, kind of fed up with it. So, like, that's why I just said yes and no.
Bell, too.
Le'Veon Bell.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna say a big NO because even with Jamal Adams, they still weren't a good defense. But I think that the Seahawks defense has a lot of good players, but with Jamal Adams, it's just very good defense. So I think that's no.
All right, thank you guys for your input. Next, we're going to go to playoff picture. Okay, this is the playoff picture. In the AFC, we have the Chiefs, who have clinched a spot on on the playoffs, and 6 playoff berths left and available. And in the hunt are the Steelers, Bills, Titans, Browns, Dolphins, and Colts. So, in the NFC, the Saints have clinched a spot in the playoffs, and they too have 6 playoff berths available with the Packers, Rams, Giants, Seahawks, Buccaneers, Vikings. And then we have the people in the bubbles, which are for the AFC, the Raiders, Ravens, Patriots, Browns, and Texans.
Broncos.
Broncos, sorry, I can't see that. The NFC, we have the Cardinals, Bears, Lions, 49ers, Washington football team, Falcons, Panthers, Eagles, and Cowboys. So, my question for them, which team for the AFC and NFC, I have 2 questions by the way, in the hunt do you think deserves a spot in the playoffs?
I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson came back from COVID last week. It's like 12 days removed, and they had, I think, almost 300 yards or over 300 yards rushing against the Cowboys. Him, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, and Mark Ingram all ran wild. I feel like the defense is going to play big. Like, this is a huge game this week for them. It's the game of the year, in my opinion, the Browns and the Ravens. In week 1, the Ravens smashed the Browns, but that was like the Browns' first time being like together all like on a football field for a real game with the new coach and everything. And I think it was like 38-6 the Browns lost. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like just the Ravens with their rushing offense plus their defense, they can definitely play with anyone as long as Lamar plays well. I'm looking for the Ravens to make the late push to be in the playoffs.
Maylee?
I'm going to say the Washington football team. I mean, Alex Smith came in, and he has done great for them as their backup. And they've won against the Steelers, which I think is a very big step forward for them. So if they can keep on playing like they did against the Steelers, they definitely have a chance to not be in the hunt anymore in the bubble.
That kind of answers my next question. Which team from the bubble, AFC and NFC, do you think can make it to the playoffs? Gonna follow Mommy's footsteps and Daddy, if you're ready.
I'm going to say the Cardinals. don't know. Looking at all those NFC teams, none of them really look that strong, except for the football team. But Maylee just said that I didn't want to copy, to be honest. But the Cardinals have a pretty good team. I mean, Kyler Murray, their offense is decent. I mean, it's more than decent. It's really good. But lately, it's been kind of like underperforming. But it's a big game this week. The Cardinals versus the Giants. We'll see what happens there. I don't know, just, the Bears, Lions. Maybe the 49ers are another team to look out for there. Well, they play the football team this week, so that's another big matchup like in the hunt there for the NFC. I say Cardinals.
I'm going to say the Ravens and the Washington football team. Everything that the Ravens, if we have a good chance of making it, if they can win these next few games until the playoffs, and basically, what I just said about the Washington football team. So both teams have a very big chance to make it to the playoffs.
Well, thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed the playoff picture.
Welcome back to our third edition of Versus. This time we've got the San Francisco 49ers. And we do apologize for having the old helmet, but this is the Washington football team. So, would you rather watch Forrest Gump or Mrs. Doubtfire? And these are both movies from each one of these locations. And time's up. Maylee.
I'm going to go with Mrs. Doubtfire. It's a classic.
Woo!
Yeah, this is a tough one. Forrest Gump, though. Love that bubblegum shrimp.
Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Forrest Gump. Next, we have the Saints at the Eagles. Would you rather eat gumbo or Philadelphia cream cheese? Which would you rather eat? Maylee.
Philadelphia cream cheese.
Cream cheese. Daddy.
Love that cheesecake, but I also love me some spicy
Gumbo. Karsen.
It's gumbo time.
Gumbo. The Atlanta Falcons versus the LA Chargers. Would you rather have FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, or Richard Nixon?
What do you mean have them?
President.
Which president would you rather have been alive during? Yeah, that's right, Daddy. Make that weird face. Time's up! Daddy, what's your answer?
I always love a good conspiracy theory scandal. Going with Nixie.
Woo! FDR from Maylee. Karsen. FDR. Alright. The Packers versus the Lions. Would you rather listen to Lil Chicken and Jiggles or Sada Baby?
I'm probably going to spell this wrong, so I'm sorry.
It's quite alright if you spell it wrong. It's that gangster stuff.
I got that.
Alright, Karsen.
Sada baby.
Sada Baby. Daddy.
Gotta represent West Side Detroit, 7 Mile, Sada Baby.
Sada Baby. Yeah, boy. And Maylee.
Sada baby.
Sada Baby.
We have to look him up now and listen to him.
The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Buffalo Bills. Would you rather eat pierogies or buffalo-style pizza? Time's up, Daddy.
I like spicy. I'm going to say buffalo pizza.
Woo! Karsen.
Pierogies.
Woo! Maylee.
Buffalo style pizza.
Woo! And last but not least, the Baltimore Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. Would you rather meet David Hasselhoff or Drew Carey? Time's up. Karsen.
The Drew Carey Show.
Woo! Daddy.
I have to go with Baywatch. That chest hair, though.
Woo!
You're Carrie.
Woo!
That is the end of this segment.
Versus.
And the
Thank you, Mommy.
verses.
Shout out to our producer
Shout out
for hosting that segment and doing all the helmet
Action.
action.
Now we're going to go on to game picks.
Wow, wow.